Creation, destruction, knowledge, and choice. The gifts given to humanity by the gods themselves, existing not only in principle, but in physical form as well. In the world of Remnant, they are known as the Relics. And thanks to the story that Crow told Team Ranger, we know that once they are all brought together, they grant the ability to change the world. But beyond that, what do we really know about the Relics? For example, are they useless on their own until brought together? Similar to the Dragon Balls, perhaps? Where, they're just a crystal ball that does nothing on their own, but once gathered together, they grant a vast amount of power. Or are they something similar to the Triforce, where each individual portion of it has a power in and of itself akin to what it's named for? For the Triforce, it'd be wisdom, courage, and power. And for the Relics, of course, it'd be creation, destruction, knowledge, and choice. A relic has now been shown in the series of RWBY. Yang has the Relic of Knowledge. So it'll have to be explained, likely in Volume 6, it better be explained in Volume 6, what the relics are actually capable of, whether they have power on their own or they need to be brought together to actually accomplish anything. And that's why I'm making this video, because I have my own ideas as to what the relics could do on their own and together, but there's going to be stuff I miss, and I want to get everyone else's opinions on this, and see what everyone thinks going into Volume 6 as to what the relics can actually do. So, for the relics having power on their own, creation and destruction, fairly straightforward, though they are two sides of the same coin, with the relic of creation, relic of destruction. The relic of creation will create, relic of destruction will destroy. Fairly simple, right? Well, that's debatable, because the maidens themselves, who have magic, they kinda already accomplished the creation aspect. So, with the relic, it would have to be somewhere between what the maidens could actually already do and the ability to create something on the scale that would change the world. Considering that the maidens can already alter the weather and manipulate the environment around themselves in a fairly wide range already, the power of the relic would have to be scaled up from that. And once it's scaled up a certain amount, once it's scaled to a point, for example, being able to create something the size of a city, I'd argue that could be potentially world-changing as well, but I'm guessing when they say the scale of change the world, they mean alter a continent or the entire world all at once. So, something along those lines for creation, and similar with destruction, that it would have to be something maybe being able to wipe out a group of soldiers coming towards you, or a village, or something along those lines, having that sort of power, especially, which would go along with the theory that I have that the King of Vale, the last King of Vale, when he went into battle, his sword was the Relic of Destruction, and that's what allowed him to distinguish himself on the battlefield, which would make sense if one swing of his sword could decimate a group of soldiers or something akin to that. So creation, destruction, it's pretty straightforward, just the scale of it needs to be considered and evaluated when the writers of RWBY are actually putting that in, if they go to put that in. Knowledge and choice, they deal with more the mental realm instead of the physical realm. Because essentially, combining knowledge and choice is what gives the human race, the faunus, we ourselves, sentience. The ability to learn from our environments, adapt to it, and make choices based on that. So, what I believe the relics of knowledge and choice being able to manipulate would essentially accomplish very similar things, albeit knowledge could manipulate it a little bit further. Allow me to explain this. With knowledge, you can manipulate the knowledge that a person has, what they perceive to be true. For example, if they're a very devout religious person and they worship a god, you could replace that god with something else. If they follow commandments, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal, things of that nature, they could completely reverse them and make a complete saint into a murderous psychopath. Just manipulating the memories that a person has and the knowledge that they believe is true holds great power. And similarly, with choice, it would take out the root of what the knowledge does, where knowledge would manipulate what a person perceives to be true. Choice would simply leave a person as they are, but take away their ability to choose one way or another and force a certain choice upon them. Something similar to that, I believe, making people mindless slaves doing whatever the relic, whatever a person who has the relic of choice desires, or the person with the Relic of Knowledge manipulates people through a bit more of a roundabout way. That's my ideas, at least, and I'd love to hear what you guys think about all of that. And with the Relics of Choice and Knowledge, there's also a range of effect consideration as well, because if they could walk into the middle of a city and manipulate everyone in that area, or everyone in the entire city, that poses some problems. Now, I'd see it as those relics being able to grant the user as well, a vast amount of knowledge, or the ability to make choices for others, things like that, but only in a very short range, that they'd be able to manipulate people close to them. They'd have to get close to someone to be able to use it, and then there's also the question of whether those effects will last, and how long they will last. If you manipulate someone's ability to choose, or their knowledge that they have in their mind, manipulate their memories, how long will it last? Is it permanent until it's undone, or will it wear off after a certain amount of time? With the relics being the way they are, it would make sense that they'd be permanent, but then that poses questions as to, okay, does it have to be undone by the relic, or are there other ways? Are the relics actually magic in and of themselves, or are they something more akin to the power that the gods have? Because frankly, I think that a godly power would be something a little bit different than magic, but I could be wrong. So there's all these different questions about the relics that we don't really know. And then, if the relics have power in and of themselves, when brought together, would it just grant a heightened amount of power based on that? Or would it be something where it just grants the wish of the user? It doesn't have to actually fall into the categories of destruction, creation, knowledge, and choice. I mean, if brought together and could affect something on a global scale, then yeah, you could wipe out an entire species, for example, the human race and the faunus. Or you could create new continents, create a world in your image, manipulate the world's knowledge to put yourself in the place of an emperor of the entire world, or just take away a person's choice, or everyone's choice, to make them mindless slaves to whatever you want them to do. There's a lot that could happen with the relics, and frankly, the relics are going to be brought together at some point near the end of the RWBY series, I believe, so that we will be able to see what they're capable of. But on an individual basis, their powers could be very debatable as to what they are. And I'd love to hear what you guys think as to what the relics can do. If they have power on their own, if they're only like the Dragon Balls, can only be useful once brought together, or if they're like the Triforce, and they do have power on their own. Let me know what you guys think, let me know what your ideas are, I look forward to hearing them, and I'll see you guys in the next video.